Welcome everyone to Talented Universe this beautiful day on September 26, 2024. We are so happy to be back with voice guests again for this season 26. Yeah. And I would like to welcome my wonderful co-host, Vernon Barnard. Vernon, how are you doing? It's been a while since we had voice guests on.
I appreciate the prefix there, Mike. Wonderful, Michael Day. And yeah, it's great to be back with you, man. It's been a while and very excited for today's guest. So if you don't mind doing us the honors, Mike.
Not a problem. I would like to welcome Kendall Eugene, voice season 26. Kendall, do you want to just quickly give a brief, 3-hour synopsis of your life for us? Ha ha ha.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, it's so good to be here with you guys, Michael and Vernon. I appreciate this. I appreciate the platform that you've allowed me to have, and I appreciate the platform that the voice has allowed me to have. The past couple of days have been just a whirlwind. I went from basically no followers on Instagram, no one knowing who I was, to now getting messages all day and comments and seeing the video of my blind audition just go up in views. And it's been absolutely incredible. I mean, I never thought that I would be someone on TikTok who had millions of views of them singing. And I think TikTok is almost up to 10 million views now.
What?
And I am blown away because I don't use TikTok a lot. I'm older. And so I'm more of a millennial. So I use more Instagram than I use TikTok. And so it's just been incredible to see all of the love and all of the support over the past few days. And, I sang in the church for a long time, right? And I was telling someone this the other day that as a worship pastor or someone who sings in the church or grew up playing music in the church, no one tells you you're bad, right? No one's ever going to come up to you after a service and be like, hey, that was terrible, or you should do this, or you need some coaching, or you need this or that, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's so good. Doesn't matter how good you are. It's so good. I loved it, right? And so going on the show was this thing for me, like, okay, do I have what it takes? Am I a good church singer, or am I someone who can actually take music and turn it into hopefully a career? And that's what I'm trying to do at this point. I love music with all of my heart, and it's always been good to me. And I want to use it to help and encourage other people. And the best way that I can do that is to make it into some kind of a career. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Amazing. So have you been performing for quite a while? Have you been on the scene, touring, that kind of thing before The Voice, or is this kind of the launch?
So this is really the launch. This whole journey started exactly a year ago, first or second week of October. And I didn't even have a band or anything like that until February of this year. And we played our first live show at an open mic in Indiana, Pennsylvania, Levity Brewing Company. And we played our first live show there, not really expecting anything. We're just kind of jamming together as friends. And right after that show, like within a couple of songs, we played, I think, 4 or 5 songs. Within a couple of songs, we had a gig booked, at that place. And since then, it's just kind of launched. And I've been gigging around Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh. I've gone to Youngstown, Ohio a couple of times, and played over there as well. And but no, I really haven't. I'd love to go on a tour, but I haven't had that opportunity yet. And so really I wanted to, or I'm hoping, praying that The Voice allows me this kind of trampoline, essentially, to get this thing off the ground and go around to more places and play around to more places. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the exposure in itself. Like, I know exposure isn't everything. Like, sometimes I don't know if you've received this offer yet from someone before, where they say, "No, come play for exposure." So in that case, I don't know if that's really a viable deal. But in terms of The Voice, like you just said, now 10 million views. That's crazy. So I mean, even just a small conversion rate of that into fans and into people that will book you. I mean, I trust it can really go from strength to strength, man.
Yeah, that's honestly what I'm praying for. That's what I'm hoping for. I've played a lot of those gigs for exposure. I mean, anytime that I actually played an open mic last night, and in Manhattan, Kansas, just to get my name out there. Like I've been trying to, contact different people, the local music scenes, depending on where you're at. Sometimes it's hard to break into, sometimes it's hard to get people to believe that you are actually decent enough to, to play their bar or play wherever. And, so yeah, I've been on many of those exposure tours, if you will. Definitely The Voice is the best one that I could possibly be on, and I'm just hoping for great opportunities to come out of this.
Yeah.
Kendall, we have some people in the chat room and they're being very quiet. So if you are in the chat room and you have a question for Kendall, I just posted something in there. Please put your question in there and I will post it up and we will see what he says.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Yeah. Now, I was going to ask you, and there went that question, because I knew you did an open mic last night.
Yeah.
And so you said that went fairly well.
Oh yeah, it was a good time. It's at this place. It's actually apparently the only open mic in Manhattan, where K-State is at, and it's at this place called Finn's Pub and Grill, and it was a good time. Like it's a Wednesday night bar crowd, so it's not huge, but I always have fun no matter where I've played. One time I played a show with literally 2 people in the bar. It started a little too early. It wasn't promoted very well, but it's just like, hey, I want to get out there. This was early on, and man, me and those 2 people, we had a great time. We had a great connection, and that's actually one of the things that growing up in churches helped me learn how to do. Is that no matter how many people are in the room, you play. Like it's the biggest room you've ever played in. You sing with all of your heart. You do everything at 100%, no matter who's there, because it's a passion, and it's not just something I do just for fun. Like it is fun, but for me, it's a passion, and that allows me to have a good time, really, no matter where I go. And so, yeah, I think this turned into something good. I finally got. I was trying to get in contact with the bar to do some live music there, and again, they just didn't know who I was. It was before the show. And now that I've played there for the open mic, they immediately were like, hey, we need to get you for a show here. And so, that's usually how it goes. If I don't have any backing, I'm completely independent. So I don't have a booking agent, anything like that. And so I'm trying to reach out to people and they just, who is this guy? Who is this person? And so that's kind of how it's been going. So.
I find the same thing when I'm trying to get guests too, that they don't know who I am either. So yeah. I totally get that. I'll ask one question and I'll give it back to Vernon.
Of course.
What motivates you right now to do the music? Is there something that drives you, or is this just something that has been brewing for a long time?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. It has been brewing for a long time because, like I said, music is a passion of mine. I don't feel like I can't not do music, right? Like it has to come out of me. It flows out of me. I'll write silly songs just randomly. I was watching the Cowboys the other day, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and it's like being in an abusive relationship. It's terrible. They set you up for high hopes and then they absolutely screw you. I had my guitar out practicing some songs, and I just started making up a song about being a Dallas Cowboys fan and how much I hate it. But I can't get away from it, So like music is in me no matter what. And so it's a passion of mine. I would be doing it no matter what to some capacity. But what motivates me right now is first, my kids. I want to be able to provide for them in a way that is healthy for me, and in a way that also shows them that they can chase their dreams and they can make something out of it. All of my kids are very ambitious. They're very creative. They're full of life. And I want to just show them like, hey, if you've got a dream, it's not too late to go chase that. And it's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require hard times, but in the end, it can, and I believe it will pay off. And that's something that I'm wanting to do. That's one of the reasons why I want to become a full-time musician. I have worked many 9-to-5s. I have worked on the pipeline. I've worked hard jobs. I've worked easy jobs. I've worked boring jobs. And I love doing work. I'm a hard worker. I love doing work. But one of the things that I've always wanted to do is I want to be able to balance a good work-life balance, whereas like I'm not miserable coming home every day, you know, and having no energy to give to my kids or having no energy to give to passions. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm hoping that music pops off. So number one is the kids. And number two, you know, I was a pastor for 15 years. And even though I'm not a pastor right now, it's still in my heart to help people. I can't help but want to encourage, but want to build up, bring hope to people. And so even though some of the songs that I write and a lot of country songs are sad or they're love songs, I think that they help people feel certain emotions that maybe they've bottled up. Maybe they didn't know that they could feel. It helps put words to what they're going through. And that's something I want to be able to do with my music. And that really is what drives me is, you know, a lot of people don't talk about the situations that they're in. They don't talk about the hardships or the hard times in their life, but they'll listen to a song about it and they'll connect with the song, and it will allow them to, in listening or maybe singing car karaoke, you know, to express how they're feeling in the moment. And I know that that is so helpful to us as human beings, that, you know, if we don't have an outlet to express where we're at or how we feel, then, man, we're going to crumble inside. I've been there before. And so I'm just trying, I want to help people, especially men, you know, feel the emotion that they have on the inside and give words to that.
Yeah, no, on that point, Kendall, I heard recently someone told me that it's been tested that even if someone sings a sad song, it still produces and releases those happy hormones, like something that just gives you the ability to express, release, convey, whatever it might be, and it's so true, man. And I think the biggest sign in terms of just that you made for this and it's made for you is what you said about you can't let it go. You can't separate yourself from music, and I think that's the test. Like because it's easy to give up when it's not going your way, but if it's something that you just can't be separated from, it's just in you, a part of you. Like you say, you just write songs, it just flows out of you. That's a great sign, man.
Yeah, that's something, you know, that I've had to deal with, and I know I'm going to continue to have to deal with is it time to hang it up? Am I too old to do this? Should I stop writing music? You know, I've been trying to write songs since I was 17, and going through tough times in my life at that point, which I'm sure we'll get into later on. But yeah, I started writing songs back then, and they probably weren't that good. But you know, you're always wondering, like, can this help somebody? Is this good enough for someone else to connect with? And there's times where, you know, you want to give up. There's times when you're not sure, but when it's just an innate part of you. And I believe that, you know, I believe that I'm created to create in some way. And that's why I literally cannot run away from it. And I'm so glad that I can't get away from it, because even when I want to, it comes right back.
Yeah, it's it's a blessing. It won't let go.
Yeah.
I mean, just on the point that you made about being relatable and being honest with people, I think we live in a time where that's so important, because even though it's been said a few times, I feel like, and please just expand on this thought if you want. People still feel like there's this divide between themselves, the average Joe guy that's just got the normal day job in inverted commas, and the people that's on the shiny screens. And I think it's very important for people to know that those people are also just people going through stuff, and they're not that, you know, they're not exempt from that. Yeah, so I mean, for myself personally, I love it that you're taking that approach, that you're going to put it out there the way it is, the good, bad, and ugly, as they say, and but all trying to do something positive and good with it.
Yeah, I know. Like, one of my favorite quotes, it's actually up on my website, kendalleugene.com, and it's by an author named Erwin McManus, and he's based out of LA, and he makes a quote that he says, everyone is having a human experience, so we need to be able to give more grace to everyone we meet. And you know, when you take that first part of everyone is having a human experience, that is such a That is such a profound statement. It's simple, but it's profound. And we forget that a lot of times, that I'm going through stuff just like you're going through stuff, just like everybody else is. We all have our highs, our lows. Man, if we could come together on that, like, as human beings, as a world, and realize that we're really all in the same boat. We're all trying to figure out this life together. We're all having a human experience. A lot of those walls would come down, and I think there would be a lot more grace for people, a lot more joy and peace in the world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Any comments there, Mike?
Well, maybe we'll get on to some of the craziness on your audition for The Voice.
Yeah.
I'm sure you looked at it after you lived it. We were basically told about this new thing they were going to let the judges do, that if you didn't get any turns and they felt they made a mistake, they could basically save you and bring you onto their team. Were you told about that?
No, not at all. All we knew is that there were new rules for the season. That's it. That's all we were told. There's new rules for the season. We didn't know when they would come around. We didn't know what was going to happen. We had no clue. And you can see it on my face. Like,
that's why I was asking that, because I did see it on your face.
Here's the deal. If I knew, I need to stop doing music and I need to go into acting. Like, that's that's what I would need to be doing. So like, it was unbelievable. I had no clue that was going to happen. And so I was so dejected. I was like, what did I just do this for? Like, I left my job for the summer. I left my apartment. I left my kids for months. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here right now? And so like my whole world changed whenever she starts talking about, we've got something new and I'm going to use it on you. I was like, oh my God, I cannot do it.
Well, I mean, I saw your face when your song was over and nobody had turned around. I mean, you were devastated.
Oh yeah.
You were devastated. And I mean, honestly, I was just kind of going, I get too into this show.
Yeah.
But then I just went, and then I thought, okay, let's, because I knew about the thing, but it didn't occur to me until I looked at Reba, and she was like holding her chest, and she was kind of really sad.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, is she gonna use it? And then she started her little spiel, and then I could see your face. You go, what's going on here? What's she talking about?
Yeah.
And
well, what's really funny, sorry, is
no, go ahead. It's your show.
So what's hilarious is they give us a microphone obviously to sing, but then we're using it to talk in, right? And we're supposed to talk back and forth to the coaches, and not everything gets shown. Obviously,
right.
It's TV, so not everything gets shown. And the one part in it says you should have turned. Like, she says, I don't know why I didn't turn. And I said, you should have. Right after that sentence, I said, you should have. Can I have a second chance? You want to do this whole thing again? Like,
oh yeah, they cut that out. Yeah,
oh for sure, because it would have shown that like maybe I knew, but I didn't. I was just like, in my mind, I was thinking, well, it's over now, so I'm just going to say what I want to say. I'm going to be me,
Well, and Michael Bublé did say that he wished you had done a different song.
Yeah,
he might have turned.
Yeah. And I knew it. So going in, like, even Gwen said, hey, there's some tuning issues in the very beginning. Bublé had said the same thing, like, hey, in your lower register, it seemed a little off. And to be honest, I was a little nervous. And a little bit, just a little bit, and that lower end of songs, is more difficult for me. And I've had to learn. I've never had vocal coaching until I got on the show.
Right.
So I had to learn, different techniques to sing these lower registers. And I feel like I do a better job now. But I knew while I was singing it, I was like, I better crush the chorus, because if I don't crush the chorus, I don't have a chance here. So being disappointed wasn't so much in at the as soon as everything ended, it wasn't so much in the nobody turned for me. It was more of like I know what I did. I did not do as well as I think I could have. And I let the nerves get to me a little bit, and I knew whenever they said, hey, there were some pitchy problems in the beginning, I knew it. I wasn't going to argue that. Like, yeah, there was a couple of words in there I didn't breath control properly. And so I really just kind of was disappointed in myself, to be honest, of like, you kind of let that one slip, you know, you didn't, you know, I'm not normally a nervous person. I mean, I've played on stages for a long time since I was a little kid. I played college football. I was a CrossFit athlete, like at a very high level in an arena, working out in front of people and competing. And so I've been in front of crowds and having to perform so much. And I don't normally get nervous, but the voice is a totally different animal, man. And
I mean, with that audience and with those seasoned professional singers,
yes,
and producers, Snoop Dogg, you know, and I mean, very intimidating.
It was for sure. I didn't think. What's funny is leading up to the audition, the holding time, I was so calm, and I think I was too calm, honestly. I wanted to take a nap. Like, I was tired. I was like, you know, I was like, let's take a nap. I've been up for a while. I did my makeup already. You know, I'm chilling, and I was so calm and so confident. And then I got up on that stage, and I was like, oh my, this is wild.
This is the real deal. And that's crazy. I think a part of it is also that, like, you know, it's probably just going to happen one time. Yeah, you can go back a year from now or 2 years from now or whatever, but like it's that, I think it's that idea of it really making it comes down to just that moment and whether you execute it. And I totally get what you say about then being in your head a little bit, even while you're in the song, multitasking, you're focusing on the notes, but you're also thinking, I need to really crush the choruses, because you feel like, okay, I didn't fall in the way I wanted to at the start. So no, those are a lot of competing emotions / thoughts to juggle in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy because, you know, it's like an out of body experience, right? Like, you're singing a song, but your other half of your brain is thinking about everything that's going on. And, you know, I sang the song so many times leading up to that. I'd even done it in a show one time. And so I knew the song like the back of my hand. And so, like, I was just kind of, you know, letting it be natural to me to sing. But all this other stuff was in my brain, just like, okay, I'm looking at the back of these chairs. I'm still looking at the back of these chairs. I better hit this falsetto note. If I hit this falsetto note, maybe somebody will turn. Oh, crap, they didn't turn. I better do a run at the end of the song, so maybe they'll turn for that, you know? So,
and then they didn't.
Yeah, and then they didn't. And then you saw my head hang and go, well, I don't know what I'm going to do now, you know? And even afterwards, you know, Gwen and talking originally, you know, before we knew that there was going to be the replay, she was like, hey, that was good. And even Buble, you know, maybe you should have picked a different song, come back, try out again, because you're good enough to be here. You just need to have a little bit more polishing. I was even thinking in my head, like, I don't know if I can, you know, I think this was my chance.
This is your shot.
Yeah, like, this is a lot of work to get here. And, you know, I'm a little older and I don't have a lot of time to try to figure this all out. You know, I was thinking of my kids and like getting back to them. And I'm thinking I've been away from them for a long time. And I don't know that I want to go through this again, you know? So I'm glad that it worked out where I didn't have to.
Yeah.
So Kendall, take us back a bit to where it all started. Like, just a little bit of a rundown of your life growing up, and just one point you can include, but obviously there's a lot more. Just like your love for music from a young age, and also like I think you are, you know, a great instrumentalist as well. So maybe throw that in there as well. Your journey with different instruments and that kind of thing. But yeah, just tell us a bit about yourself growing up, your family situation, all of that.
Yeah. So, you know, I'll spare you all the details, but I was born in Waco, Texas, and Texas basically through and through. I've only lived outside of Texas in the past few years in Pennsylvania, and I love Texas with all my heart. And I grew up in a very musical family. My mom was a classically trained vocalist. She had a full ride scholarship to Texas Women's University and was an incredible vocalist. And my dad, he played trombone, and I believe that he was going to play in Baylor, was going to play at the Baylor band. But when he got there, he decided to focus on his studies. But he can pick up an instrument and learn it in 30 minutes. He's an incredible musician and has a great ear, worked a lot in production, and ran front of house for forever in different churches and stuff like that. And so kind of growing up in that environment, I was always around music. I was always doing something with music. I listened to Christian radio with my mom, and if it was me and my dad, we listened to classic rock, and just hanging out and having a good time. And when I was 6 years old, 6 or 7, around that time, my dad was a worship leader at the church we were going to, and we had a Sunday night service where the drummer didn't show up. And I was there for practice, just kind of hanging around and, probably being obnoxious. So he was like, hey, go pick up those drumsticks and just see if you can do some rhythms back there. And, leading up to this point, he had always done like these little syncopation, with my hands and feet and stuff like that, like little rhythmic tests and stuff, kind of teaching me how to count music at an early age. And I got up there, played the drums, not knowing what to do, just for practice. And I was a natural rhythmically. And so I got a couple of lessons and just really started playing the drums from then on. And that was like my first love. I didn't care too much to sing. I liked singing, but it wasn't like the first thing I was going to. But anyways, I was playing a lot in church. And at some point, my dad and my mom wanted to do a song with me, the specials, in the middle of service. And I got opportunities to do that and was decent enough at that, I started realizing, okay, I kind of like singing as well.
Yeah.
And so my early teen years, 12, 13, 14, I started doing little competitions within the church world called Fine Arts, and started doing that and singing. And I always just came up like just that short to get to the next level. And so really, again, just focused mostly on drumming. But music for me, especially in my teenage years, especially drumming, helped me so much because my mom, when I was 14 years old, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And you saw this on the show. She was paralyzed from the waist down. And that was a really trying time, which, by the way, there was like a report, I think it got taken down, but there was a report that she died. She did not die. She's still alive. Mom is not dead. So, but she is still in their wheelchair and still battling multiple sclerosis. But I really had to turn to music at that point, for sure. Like, come home and play drums and just kind of block out the world. I went to drums and to sports. And then when I was 17 years old, I had my son Nolan and had to put him up for adoption. And that's whenever I started to learn the guitar a little bit. I had a friend who wrote music and who played guitar in the church band. And I asked him, hey, can you teach me some of these chords? Because I'd like to start writing songs because I've got all this pain inside of me that I don't know how to get out. And I would write lines, I would write poems, whatever. And I asked him to put it to music. And he said, well, why don't I just, teach you how to play the guitar, a couple of chords, and you can learn. And back then, emo music was super huge, like Dashboard Confessional, stuff like that, Yellow Card. And so like all of my upbringing in songwriting was more based towards that. And, I wrote stuff that no one ever heard and will never hear. But it was kind of where I started to, learn my chops. And that got me into the guitar. And when I graduated college and got married and got a job as a youth pastor, at that point I could sing, I could play the guitar a little bit. I spent some time doing an internship, learning some more about worship music and about music inside the church. And it's kind of awkward to lead songs from the drums, especially in church. Not for me, but for everybody else, it's kind of weird. Like, where's that person singing from? Where are they at?
I was just about to say, you sang and played the drums simultaneously.
Yes. I can still do it. It's not that hard for me to do, but because I can separate my brain, but at the same time, it's just awkward for everybody else in the crowd. And
in general, that is a quite hard skill to master, I would say.
I think so. Yeah. I think it came from me just, spending hours and hours of like perfecting playing drums. And then like, because I can play drums kind of with my brain turned off, it allows me to be able to focus on singing as well. But I did that. And that was when I really started to learn the guitar a lot better because I didn't like singing with the microphone like this. I hated it. I felt awkward. Didn't know what to do with my hands, you know?
Yeah.
So I would just get up there and fake a guitar half the time. And then I realized I don't want to fake a guitar for my whole life. So I need to learn these chords, right? And that was about 15 years ago, and started learning how to play guitar through that. And, you know, had a little band with my brother that we didn't really do much, but we played around in Waco every once in a while with some rock shows. And again, started writing more songs at that point in time, and just kind of learning that craft. And I had been a worship and youth pastor for basically 15 years. And that's really where I learned everything about music, to be honest, was in the church. And it helped me a lot. Like I didn't realize how much playing in the church and being a part of a larger churches would actually prepare me for the things that I was doing and the things that I have been doing on The Voice. And that's been an incredible opportunity for me to use. And it's been a blessing and a gift for me within music. So that's really, I mean, that's kind of my musical journey. And like I said earlier, I didn't really start doing music outside the church until February of this year. And so.
And we do have a question from the chat room.
Yeah.
I think it's someone you might know.
Okay.
I cannot pronounce her. Is it Ripsime? Is that right? It is. I think so. She'll get me. Are your kids also musical?
Yeah, actually they are. They're as musical as they can be. My daughter, Kinley, she's 9 years old, and she loves music and loves singing. I have a full size guitar, and so I've put that in her hands trying to play it. It's way too big for her, but she learns how to, she wanted to learn how to play some chords, and she'll make up songs and stuff like that. And she actually was just showing me the other day that she got a flute, and she's going to start playing the flute, and she was so excited about that. And then my sons love the drums. I mean, what little boy doesn't like, hitting things with sticks? And so I have a little electric kit. Yeah, I have a little electric kit in my apartment, and my middle son, Cannon, he's 8, and he's got some pretty good rhythm down, and is learning the very basics, of how to count and how to play properly. And Grayson, my youngest 5, he loves music as well, but he likes heavier. He's very energetic, and he likes heavy rock music. And so he loves just, banging on the guitar with whatever he can. So I give him my old one, and then loves to play the drums as well. So he's coming around. But yeah, I want to keep the legacy on for my kids, and I would never push something on them. Like my dad never pushed music on me, right? He didn't ever tell me, you're going to be a musician. That's how it's going to be. He just let me discover it on my own. And that's what I'm trying to do with my own kids. And if it takes a little longer than it does, I'm not comparing them to me or to anybody else. But music is always on. It's always around. I'm always playing with them. They ask me to play certain songs, that I've written, and some of them are their favorites. And can you play this one on the show? I'm like, I don't think I can do that, buddy. They get excited every time we get to sing in or playing. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I mean, even if they don't go into music or the arts as a destination, I think it's still so special that they get to appreciate music through you showing them the great appreciation you have for it. And because either way, like, music's going to be a part of their life, right? If it's not as a profession, it's going to be a part of their lives as just what they inherit from you in terms of just enjoying it, just seeing the beauty in it. So that's so cool, man.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Cool. I have a off-topic question, but just thinking about it, we the previous part that we addressed with you singing in church and so on, and obviously the whole theme is that life has various trials. I was thinking about James 1, that count it all joy when you fall into various trials, and that whole section about that producing patience. But who would you say is do you have a, like, I don't want to say a favorite, but a favorite then biblical figure, like one of the biblical men or women that you find real inspiration from?
Yeah. So, I mean, I could say Jesus, but that'd be kind of a cop out. So,
No,
you know, outside of Jesus, you know, this isn't just a cliche musician thing, but for me, it's David in the Old Testament. I If you read through the Psalms, he's very raw in his emotions.
Yes.
People want to think that, you know, the Bible is all full of just happy-go-lucky, joy, 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 especially in the prayers and songs and psalms. But there's times where David says some stuff that I'm like, bro, that's not okay. Like, you can't say you want to do that. Like, don't pray that against your enemies. Like, that's not good, man. We're supposed to love people. But I love his emotion, and I love the way that he is so real with God and with himself as well. And I love the way that, you know, that he faced his trials. He made a lot of mistakes, one massive one, you know, and he faced it head on, confessed it, and you know, faced the consequences that were to come his way, but never in that time renounced his faith or renounced God, or stopped following the law at that time. And, you know, that's because of that, because of his faithfulness, you know, he gets to be in the line, the bloodline of Jesus. And,
Amen.
you know, so that's one of the reasons why is like his story really shows me that you can have these massive highs and these massive lows, and they can be happening at the same exact time. You can absolutely screw up your life on your own volition, you know, by your own choices, by your own selfishness. You can do that, and yet something beautiful and something miraculous can still happen out of that if you come back to your center point. And that's something that I've tried to do. I've made a ton of mistakes in life. I continue to make mistakes, and I will make more mistakes. Hopefully not as big. But when I've messed up in life, I try to remember that I have to come back to my center point. And sometimes I'm right on it, and sometimes I'm just adjacent to it. But it's always the pursuit, and I'm always continually in process till the day that I die. So
amen, man. I just want to say, absolutely. And I think that is why, like, at first glance, who would think that David would be called a man after God's heart, his own heart, right? But that's exactly the thing that you're saying. Like, I think there's so much about the pursuit of desiring to live for God, even though you come short so many times, and myself as well. And hopefully, you know, many Christians will also, just be open about that. Like, we are imperfect beings serving a perfect God. And but that is, I agree with you wholeheartedly. That is very inspirational to know that person that I can relate with, because there's so much that sometimes goes on in our hearts, and maybe also, like, we have that artistic side. I wonder if that's everyone has it, but artists, they are obviously, they think about things in an emotional way. But just to know that, like, he was called a man after God's heart, because that pursuit was for desiring to live for God. And that's maybe, I wonder if that's maybe more important than having the checks and the balances on the outside for appearance's sake, but whatever else is not there. The intent or the desire is not there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even when he was picked to be king, the Bible says that God sees the heart. Man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And that's something that I've prayed and thanked God for every day. So
awesome, man. No, thanks for allowing me that little bit of just, I was curious, and I don't know, it just felt like I wanted to ask that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. But also, you said your children are obviously just, they are just your heart, also moving on the outside of you. And it's so great that you get to share special moments with them, and getting a chance to know them through music and through other things as well. So what are, like, activities that you would do just for fun with your family, or just for relaxation, outside of what you already do?
Yeah. So my kids are extremely active. I thought I had a lot of energy. I thought I was an active human being.
Yeah.
But they're the next level. And so there's a lot of going to parks, a lot of playing outside. We actually go disc golf, and they'll play for a little while. My middle son loves to play disc golf cannon. My daughter and my youngest son, they'll go throw the disc every once in a while, but really they like to go and just explore the woods that we play in. The course that's in Indiana, Pennsylvania is literally in the woods. And so they just love to go explore. We go on walks, go outside as much as we possibly can. I mean, my daughter does gymnastics. My middle son plays baseball and wrestles. And so,
Nice.
we try to do anything that we can that's active. Their time with me, I want it to be active and not just sitting in front of a screen. Now, sometimes we'll do that. I have nothing. There's times I need to just veg out and watch some YouTube or something like that. So we will do that. But yeah, especially the time on the weekends or like game days or whatever, we just have fun outside. And we love doing that. So
Awesome.
Let's do some housekeeping. We have a couple of likes on Facebook. We appreciate Aisha Care. She is from the UK, and Bryce Whitlock is in Middle America, and I can't remember what state he's in. Some of our normal listeners, and I appreciate their little likes on there. Yes. We love that. Let me ask you a little more detail, which I stopped you from saying it this morning on a little live you were doing, because it was one of the things when before you did your blind audition and they do the little you talk about yourself, and it really hit me when you said when you were 17 you had a kid and you had to put him up for adoption. I was adopted, and I found out 4 years ago now that my dad was 17 when I came to being, and I never got to meet him, and so it hit me really. It just hit me, and and then you said you did an open adoption and everything, so you can have contact with him. How, in a nutshell, how does that make you feel that you can contact him and you do have some contact with him?
Yeah, I'm grateful, beyond grateful for this. I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful for his adopted parents that allowed this to happen. I'm grateful to the birth mom that allows this to happen. And the biggest thing, whenever we had to come to that decision and realize like we're not fit to raise this boy, he would have a much better life with someone else. That's a very difficult decision to make at 17 years old.
Absolutely.
And, in that moment, we don't know who's going to adopt him. We don't know anything about what's going to happen. And the crazy story it is, we haven't, we didn't get to share this obviously on the show, but he was actually adopted to the same family that his half sister was adopted to. And so my girlfriend at the time had actually just previously had a daughter and was adopted by a family, and the same family was able at that point to adopt Nolan then. And so these two half siblings got to live and grow up together. And so that even in and of itself is a beautiful thing.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing. And they have such a strong bond, obviously.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Beautiful thing. And, I wasn't sure I was going to go. I was there on the day that he was born. I saw him a couple of months afterwards during around Easter time and got to hold him while I was at a baseball game for my brother. Oddly enough, his cousin and my brother played on the same baseball team, which we didn't know at the time. I got to hold him. And then when he was 5, I got to go hang out with him in Missouri and see him. And at that point, I was just a friend of the family. He didn't know anything yet. But at that point, I sat down that night before I got to hang out with him, and I wrote a letter. And I gave it to his birth mom, or not his birth mom, sorry, his adopted mom. I gave it to her, and I just said, hey, I'm going to give this to you. If there's a time when he asks questions and you feel comfortable enough to give him this letter, then please do. If you don't, that's okay. But I wanted to explain kind of why we had to give him away, why we had to give him him up for adoption. I didn't want him to think he was abandoned in any way. I wanted him to understand, like, hey, this was the best choice that we could have made for you. And it was not selfish in any way. I wanted to help you. And so he read that when he was 12, 13, and messaged me and was like, hey, my mom just gave me this letter, and I'd like to meet up. And so we got to hang out. I think it was Easter of 2018. We got to hang out, played some basketball, and then basically our relationship has grown even more since then. On my way to Pennsylvania, when I first moved out there to work on the pipeline, I drove through Missouri, saw him, hung out with him for a day, and he got to spend some summers with me. In fact, I had a little break from the show and went and saw him as well. For just a couple of days because we didn't get the summer that we wanted to hang out. He's working. He's in college and interning, and so we just didn't have the time. And luckily, we were able to make the time. But for me, like it's been an incredible experience because one of the life verses that I try to hold on to is that Romans 8:28, God works everything out for the good of those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose. And even when things in the moment don't look good, if I give it to God, it's going to be worked out for the good.
Yeah.
And so in the moment, it felt terrible. In the moment, it felt horrible. There's still times when it sucks, but giving it to God, I know that in the end, it's going to be good. And so far, it has been. He's proven that. And it's been an incredible thing. I got to go to his senior day for basketball. I watched him play on ESPN
wow.
So
awesome.
It was really cool, and he's from a small school in Missouri. So the fact that they were even on ESPN for some Missouri tournament was incredible. And I got to watch that and, text him after the game. And so just, it's way more than I could have ever asked for, honestly. And I'm so grateful to Diane, his mom, for allowing that to happen. 'Cause she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to allow us to see each other and hang out or whatever. And she did. And so I'm forever grateful for her.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And I mean, it gives you kind of closure and just knowing what happened to him and how he's doing. I'm sure it just makes you feel just great.
Yeah. I mean, he was raised right. Diane did an amazing job, and he is an incredible human being. And he's light years ahead of where I was at his age. And I'm excited just to see where he's going to go.
Yeah, well, that is great. If anybody else in the chat room has a question, we're going to wrap it up in about 5 minutes. Vernon, do you have anything final to ask Kendall or anything? Or
no, no
you're
questions.
Good?
Yeah, I'm just I feel like it's been just a precious time with you. Of course, this is for just for media purposes first and foremost. But I mean that this is what it's all about, like connecting on a human level and us just getting to have a conversation. Myself sitting here in South Africa, you guys over there in the United States. But yeah, no, dude, really appreciate you coming on, and may the Lord continue to use you in ways that glorifies Him and that magnifies Him through your talents and your gifts. And yeah, just I'm so happy for you, man. I'm so happy for you, even not knowing you. Very happy for you that you have persisted, and yeah, once again, like that endurance is, has been built and will be sustained through the Lord. I'm so happy for you, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, before we're going to go ahead and then close then. Was there anything final you wanted to say, Kendall, that we might not have covered that you wanted to get out there?
Yeah. So for me, I'm an independent artist. And so a lot of people have asked me about like, are you on Spotify? Are you going to release music? All this. And yes, I am going to release music. No, I'm not on Spotify yet. I'm trying to raise money currently to release my EP. I've got a couple of songs that are recorded, but I'm needing to have some backing for that to be able to move forward. And so on my Instagram, I'm doing a giveaway live, basically, or an entry into a giveaway live in the mornings. And in the evenings, it's 8:30 in the morning Central Time, 9:30 Eastern. And in the night, it's the same thing, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central right now. And I'm literally doing it as like a Q&A, a talk back and forth connection, playing music for people and enjoying it, and taking virtual tips. And all of that money is going towards the EP release, but it also is getting people some stuff from me. And so if you want to know more about that, you can head over to my Instagram and check out the lives. And I'm answering questions there as well. And really, the last thing I'll say is this, one of the things that is going to be a learning curve for me, but that I'm excited to do and I'm trying to balance really well, and I just want to put this out there first, is that in the Christian music world, in church, you don't ever promote yourself, right? There's like, you shouldn't really, hey, I'm leading worship this weekend, come see me lead worship. Like there's none of that. And so I'm learning even as we go to like promote my gigs, to promote the songs that I'm releasing, to promote those things. And even though I'm doing that, it's not all about me. The reason why I'm doing that is because of what I said earlier, that I want to encourage and connect with as many people as possible. And I want to, it might be a grandiose dream, but I like to dream big. I want the music that I sing, whether it be a cover or whether it be original, I want it to connect with someone's life and hopefully change their life for that moment. It might not change them forever, but if it changes them for a moment that maybe, starts into a snowball for them, then I would love that. And that's the thing that I want to do. So I'm caught in between this world of promoting myself, but I'm not promoting myself for me to make a bunch of money or to be famous. My kids asked me one time if I ever wanted to be famous, and I told them absolutely not, but I want the opportunities that fame gives. To provide and to reach people. That's what I want. I don't necessarily want to be a face on a billboard, but I know that that's sometimes what it takes to reach a large group of people. And that's what I'm trying to do. And so, you said it right, Vernon, that I'm wanting to glorify God with whatever I do. And even if that's playing secular music or music outside of the church, I'm okay with that, because that's where people need help. And so that's what I'm wanting to do.
Awesome.
That is cool. So everyone, thank you for joining us today. If you missed part of it, this will be available in 10 seconds. You can go start it again if you'd like and see what you might have missed. And if you go to our webpage, n2bmedia.net, you can go under the Talented Universe under videos, and you can get all the links that I've been scrolling through here. They're going to be available on our page, so you can look at them there. Just so you know, our next guest from The Voice just got confirmed 2 hours ago. It will be at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, and we will have Christeo. It was on The Voice. And so we're looking forward to having her on with us to chit chat about her audition and her experience so far in this land of music. So on behalf of Vernon and myself and Kendall, thank you for coming, and we will see you next time. Take it easy.
See you guys. Appreciate it. Bye.